Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So today, payments of right around $1,900 on average are going to be going out to certain beneficiaries of Social Security one day early. So we'll be covering that. Plus, experts are projecting a decrease, a cut in benefits across the board by $324 on average if Congress doesn't act very soon, so we will be covering that as well. But before we go ahead and dive into the main content of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Plus, if you would like to receive up to $200 in free stock or $200 in free cash, in a pinned comment below, I will be leaving a link to Robinhood. All you have to do is once you click on that link is just sign up for a free account and then simply link your bank account. You do not even have to make an opening deposit. At that point in time, Robinhood will be sending you one free stock worth all the way up to $200. And if you really just have the cash, all you have to do is once you receive the free stock, it's just sell it for what it's worth and then transfer the cash value right back to your bank account. Okay, so today, payments to all Social Security beneficiaries with birth dates falling between certain periods of time will be receiving their payments one day early. Usually you'd be receiving your payments on every Wednesday, so it'd be the second Wednesday of every month, the third Wednesday, and the fourth Wednesday. But this time, because there is a holiday coming up tomorrow, you're just going to be receiving your payment one day early. So according to AS, $1,900 Social Security payment, these beneficiaries will receive an early check today on June 18th. So they say that in most cases, the distribution of payments is linked to the recipient's date of birth. Those who were born between the 1st and 10th of each month receive their payments on the second Wednesday of the month. Beneficiaries with a date of birth between the 11th and 20th receive their checks on the third Wednesday, and those from the 21st to the 31st receive their checks on the last Wednesday of the month. So say who is going to be receiving the $1,900? So some Social Security beneficiaries will receive an early check on Tuesday, June 18th. These are recipients with a date of birth between the 11th and 20th. The payment is brought forward one day given that Wednesday, June 19th is a national holiday celebrating Juneteenth. After this payment, only one more set of checks will be sent for the month of June. These payments will be sent next Wednesday on June 26th. These are going to be for beneficiaries born between the 21st and 31st of any given month. And while the amount differs on the beneficiary, SSA estimates set the average payment for a retired worker in 2024 at $1,907 for individuals and $3,303 for couples filing jointly. So again, that's going to be going out today for those born between the 11th and 20th of any given month. And then, of course, as far as the cost of living adjustment goes, once again, the most recent estimate came in at 2.6%. We won't know the exact number for the cost of living adjustment until at some point in the middle of October. That's when we're going to have the finalized third quarter CPI numbers of this year, which we can then compare to the CPI numbers of last year, and however much it's increased by is what the cost of living adjustment is going to be. So with the most recent estimate of right around 2.6%, if that happens to be the case, a 2.6% cost of living adjustment would work out to right around an increase of $50 per month for single individuals receiving Social Security benefits. Now, in some other news, of course, right now they are projecting an increase. Experts are projecting a decrease, of a decrease of $324 on average if Congress doesn't act very soon. We'll be covering why. So according to News Nation, Social Security recipients could see their benefits cut by hundreds of dollars a month in roughly a decade if Congress doesn't make changes. The head actuaries for Social Security and Medicare testified before the GOP-led House Budget Committee on Thursday and laid out the looming insolvency situation. The combined trust funds that Social Security relies on to pay out benefits are expected to be depleted in 2035. At that point, just 83% of benefits would be payable. As of January 2024, the average monthly benefit is $1,907. So with that, a 17% cut would reduce the typical check to $1,583, which would be a $324 cut in benefits, or $3,888 over the course of a year. Now, why exactly are funds being depleted? Why are they talking about this massive cut in benefits? Well, the article goes on to say that the trust fund specifically devoted to retirement benefits is projected to be depleted even earlier in 2033. And when that happens, beneficiaries will see their benefits automatically cut by 21% if Congress hasn't taken action. And then, of course, we have Steve Goss, who is the chief actuary for the Social Security Administration. And what he told the House panel was that Social Security benefits beyond the available benefits in the trust funds are not allowed, much less required. And 10 years may sound like a long time to resolve the problem, but officials warn that the challenge becomes more complicated if lawmakers kick the can down the road. And also what Paul Spittlenik, also the chief actuary for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, he said that delaying a response means that there needs to be a more dramatic response later on. So obviously, the best case scenario is coming up with a solution right now. If we kick the can down the road another 8, 9, possibly even 10 years before we get to just months before the solvency issue runs out, at that point in time, they're going to need to do something even more dramatic. Whereas if they did something now, perhaps they wouldn't need to have to cut benefits as much. Perhaps they wouldn't need to raise taxes as much. Perhaps they wouldn't need to raise the full retirement age as much. So better to act now than kick the can down the road. But if we know anything about Congress, kicking the can down the road is what they seem to be the best at. Now we have one senator, Bernie Sanders, who says that he has the solution. He has the solution to fixing the solvency issue, making it solvent for another 75 years. Let's go ahead and watch what he has to say.
There are concerns amongst members of the new majority in the House that the Social Security Trust Fund will not be fully funded by 2033. They've caused people to think that that means that if you are retiring at that point, you won't get your full payout. That is inaccurate. However, there is an issue with funding, with replenishing the trust fund. You have a different solution for that than the Republicans have.
Right. These guys over in the House, some of them, not all, think that the solution is at a time when so many seniors, we don't talk about this enough. You got people who are trying to make it on Social Security, $15,000, $18,000 a year. You can't. So the solution is not what some Republicans want, to cut Social Security. The solution is to lift the cap on taxable income coming into the trust fund. Right now, you have an insane, really absurd situation. Person X makes $10 million a year. Person Y makes $160,000 a year. Both contribute exactly the same amount of money into the Social Security Trust Fund. If you lift that cap, as our legislation proposes, start at $250,000, you will have Social Security solvent for the next 75 years, solves the problem entirely, and raise benefits for lower income seniors. So that's the fight that we are waging. We're going to introduce that legislation this week.
So again, in his bill, which is called the Social Security Expansion Act, not only would it improve the solvency, push that deadline back another 75 years, but it would also increase benefits across the board by $200 per month, and would also lift the special minimum benefit to 25% above the federal poverty line, whereas right now it's actually below the federal poverty line. So it would increase benefits and also improve the solvency situation. Now, the problem and the main hang-up with this bill is that only Democrats are on board with it. Republicans are staunchly opposed to his bill because of the mere fact that it's going to be raising taxes on Americans, and Republicans are very much against raising taxes on Americans. So until they come up with a bipartisan plan where we can have both Democrats and Republicans vote in approval of it, more than likely they are not going to fix this situation. But that's all I have for today's video. I certainly hope you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.